creating choreography. Amy took a lot of examples from the 1920s, for example, the Charleston, the Flappers. I know Fosse wasn't really 1920s, but she took a lot of inspiration from him as well, and a range of his like isolated dancing and like lazy dancing as well. Fosse, I just want to give you some information on him. Being the youngest of 6, he got his attention through dancing. He was a child prodigy. His first professional jobs was in like vaudeville and burlesque sort of shows, so that's where he got like his sexual like and physical like dance moves from the vaudeville. His trademark was his forward hip thrusts, the vaudeville hunched shoulders, the turned in feet, the isolated movements. He was also known to be very sexually and physically demanding with his dancers. Like his dancing was like sexually and physically demanding to his dancers. Good example of this is in Toxic. I just kind of wanted to touch on this one because it kind of links to her story as well, where Toxic starts off very isolated when we're stood behind Ella, because this is like the start of like they're isolated because like the relationship's like the relationship between Scott and Zelda is very much fixed, like it's not going anywhere. Throughout Toxic, it starts to get a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more lazy. For example, starts to relax more when Zelda tries to confront Sheila, which shows Zelda's slow transition into like going crazy basically. And then when finally at the end, when Zelda slaps Sheila, the moves turn really lazy, really flowy, really loose, which shows Zelda's slow transition to being crazy and end up in the psych ward, and how the relationship was just sort of like festered, because at the end of this they end up breaking up. It's over between them, they're not together anymore. Another example of Amy using the oldest 1920s age dance steps was in the opening number. She uses a lot of Charleston steps in that opening number. For instance, in the first few moves we can see like the Charleston kicks and the shuffles. She also uses again a lot of isolated movements in that piece as well, which kind of shows like the Fosse side to it. Going into Crazy, she used Crazy in Love, she uses a lot of sexual sort of dancing in Crazy and Toxic. Mainly in Toxic. Crazy is again more Charleston, with the jump and the twists and the kicks as well. Again, very Charleston. In Toxic, it's more sexual. It's you can see Sheila's like wanting to get with Dan, and Amy portrays that through her dancers, which is like what Fosse did.